this is NyghtmareSlaya. I am back again for part 3. We are about to go live again recording Bully, and as always, it has been a pleasure. So we are going to get straight into the game, pick up where we left off. I do apologize about the last video ending so abruptly. Had a bit of Wi-Fi lag, so you know, it's normal, it happens, you know, especially on games such as this. But it's okay because we're back. We're going to continue where we left off. We're going to pick up and pretty much get back into where, you know, things got interesting and try to figure out whatever we didn't figure out before. Today I have live recording with me Horrible Goddess. You can visit her YouTube channel to check out her videos as well. And also I have Zombie Dog. They are my two special guests, so we are recording live and it is free commentary speech. Horrible Goddess, anything you'd like to say to the audience?
Hey everybody, it's the Horrible Game Goddess here, and I'm very excited to participate in this video, and I hope you guys enjoy, and we are here to continue, so let's do this.
And Zombie Dog, anything you'd like to shout out to the people?
You're absolutely...
Not really.
Alright, we're going to get straight into it. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go to class and get this class out the way, because as always, my classes actually unlock skill points and things that I need, so it's kind of important and a big deal for me. Not everybody likes to go to class, as always, as I mentioned, but in my case, I know what it unlocks, so I'm just going to go ahead and just defeat the system early.
In this assignment, I'd like you to pay particular attention to the emotions you experience and try to get them onto the page.
Alright, see if I remember how to do this, people. Now, I mentioned this particular class before. Like, I did mention that it can be a bit of a headache if you kind of rush it and if you're not sure exactly what to do. The trick to this is to make your boxes as small as possible to try to trap your enemies, because if you make them too wide and too stretched out, it's a chance that if you don't reach the opposite end of the poster in time, you could actually destroy your own chances of winning. I mean, you know, you can break the poster and then the enemies will wake back up, and if they hit your line, well, consider it pretty much a done deal and you pretty much failed the class. So they take these things very serious, and that was so close. That would have been a perfect example, but I kind of made it so maybe next time in the next class you'll see it happen, but I aim to not let that happen.
Passion in your work. Very good.
We acquired a new skill point.
I'm getting good at this.
You little monster.
So with the kissing ability on the game, it actually builds up your health. So technically kissing girls, such as they're doing here,
Greetings,
perfect
comrades.
example. Kissing girls actually builds up your health. So if ever low health, and you have that ability with a certain compatibility with a girl, you can actually kiss them to bring your health back up. I don't necessarily need it right now, so no point of a demonstration, but there will be chances that I might have to come across that moment, but at this particular moment it's actually okay. We're gonna go grab our bicycle out of the garage and we're gonna head out to Beach Rumble. It's one of the next biggest missions that is very important to the game, because that's where the prep guys that I'm actually dressed like right now actually take on the fight with the greasers, which are the leather jackets in the game. They're two of the biggest enemies of all time throughout the game, and as always, as I mentioned, my favorite faction is of course the greasers, because of how they look, their personality, and just their swag. So just 100% on the greaser side. The only reason I'm dressed like a prep right now is because I have to complete a certain series of missions, and the only way they let me interact with them is if I look like one of them, because they're rich and condescending. So kind of gotta like go with the flow just to kind of get anywhere past this point. So we're just going to wing it until this mission process is completely over.
Who ever heard of California wine before 1978?
Yeah, you want to get a C785. Then dismantle it and recouple with a 767 in titanium. Very expensive, but
very interesting
it will make your
storylines and
machine
the
fly.
graphics all together.
That's what the pros do.
It's very luring. If you never played the game before, it does bring you into the story and make you feel like you actually become part of it.
976? What are you, a girl? Oh, here's the kid who won the race.
Hey.
You came for your trophy, huh?
Yep.
These two
Here
scenes
she
are actually
is.
one of my favorites out of the whole
Beautiful.
entire game as well,
Molded
just to
plastic,
point that out.
covered in aluminum wrap, with your name misspelled on it.
Excellent.
Great.
Look at this. A bunch of guys whose career aspirations are to work in stores.
Fabulous. I love it when people know their place in life.
Well, your place in life is in my toilet, you trust fund turd.
Do you even have flushing toilets in your trailer? I couldn't imagine it.
You guys are a bunch of scumbags, aren't you? What you got? Bring it, come on.
Nice trophy. Here, let me see.
Come on, hey, give me that back!
Alright, so, as you can imagine, I pretty much have to go get my trophy that was just stolen from me. It's going to turn into like an oversized, unnecessary fight, but it may look kind of pointless at the moment, but once it kicks in, things are actually going to become a lot more reasonable to where it makes sense, because this is like the grand battle of two sides kind of, I guess, opening up their differences to one another. And it's basically all over something very irrelevant, which is dumber than all. And that's actually the girl that's not even in the scene right now. It's actually because the girl Pinky that we dated in the last video, she's the cousin to the leader of the clan, and she kind of felt some type of way about her ex on here, and he, well, if you were paying attention to the last video, he was her cousin, and in their family, well anyway, yeah. So some complications kicked in, and technically I had to be the rebound guy, and so that started up a whole bunch of ruckus and confusion, but technically I'm going to like squash it and try my best to be the hero of the situation, so that when this all boils over, I'm guessing, if I'm correct, I'm going to end up making more friends out of the greasers than the preppies. So the preppies will want nothing to do with me, which means I won't even be able to wear their uniform no more. The greasers, on the other hand, will be the ones that will kind of cherish me and, I guess, respect me a lot more. But of course they'll have their downfall just as the rest of the factions, so it's just a matter of time.
Get back to school, kid!
Yeah, one thing you want to keep in mind about trespassing or skipping school is if you happen to be in the city during school hours when class is in session and the police see you, they will do everything in their power to make you go back to school no matter what. And out of all the different authorities, the police might be the most irritating, because they will literally knock you down, drag you, and hold you or carry you physically back all the way to the school, and it's embarrassing, and I just try not to let that happen, because it's not something that I would want to be seen, you know, on camera, being of the moment. But as long as you stay on top of your classes and you get there, I mean, you know, you have nothing to worry about. But sometimes the times do end kind of fast, so if you don't make it in time for class, then it's not so much you can do about it. But it's best to try to be on time.
Wonder why no one picked this up.
Gymnasium, as I always mention, is a very hostile environment, so if you don't exactly know how to fight, I suggest don't even come to the gym, because 90% of your battles will take place down here in this area of the school, simply because the jocks, being the most dangerous threat of the entire school, they just want you dead by all means necessary. So it's just best to not come down here unless you have class, or if you have another reason of a mission to come out here. Other than that, I suggest that you just don't at all, especially if you're not physically ready for that.
Blow, fatty. Why am I such a doofus?
keep in mind, every particular thing that we learn between gym class and special combat fighting with the homeless guy that lives in the back of the school, we actually earn these as fighting moves and fight styles to outlive for when we fight somebody in general. So every time you actually perform these particular things, you're actually learning new techniques to take down your enemies when you're fighting somebody. So it's important to definitely go to gym class if nothing else.
Please, no. My legacy. Another crushing blow for Fatty.
Don't be such a girl!
Please, no. My legacy. Please, I have nervous bowels.
Okay, so keeps rebounding me. Try it again.
Can I see him fall any lower? My tender soul crushed.
Okay, it's unlocked, so now I should be able to just
Come on, boy, show me what you got!
naturally. Okay. See if I can use some of my fight attacks for my other training. Yep, here we go.
Maybe you're not completely useless, Hopkins.
If you all were paying attention to the last video, you already know Coach Burton has some dark secrets up his sleeve. We won't necessarily get back into those at the moment, but as I mentioned before, he definitely is not a saint, so, you know, he has a lot of dark secrets that he hides very professionally, but you'll come across him in various points of the game. I mean, he does give you missions, so it's just chances that you'll come across him and figure more and more about him more than other teachers. It is certain teachers that are on the school grounds that do give you missions, but certain ones you kind of want to pay closer attention to because of what they actually are trying to show you or tell you. So that's something to keep in mind as you play the game as well. Now here we have two missions to choose from. We have Tad's House and Weed Killer. They both connect in a sense because they're related to the preppy of what I'm dressed as right now. Weed Killer basically isn't exactly how it sounds technically, but it is involving a plant that I have to destroy. And Tad's House is basically the lieutenant of the prep squad, and I have to kind of confront him and, you know, go through nonsense and debauchery just to kind of get a situation out the way. And I do believe that will be the first time I might have a direct physical contact with Bryce, their oversized, I want to say, bodyguard that works on their side. But I want to say at the same time, if I do complete it or somewhere around that, they give me another boxing challenge, and if I beat their boxing challenge the next go around, I'd actually get the ability to actually make it my new safe house. So that's actually something very important as well that I'm looking forward to doing.
I'm sorry.
Think I'm dumb? Who's dumb now?
I'm dumb, real dumb. Hey, kid, help me out, please.
Easy, Russell. Calm down. Sit. Good boy.
Thank you. Jeez, that dumb kid's really strong.
Dumb?
Hey, be good.
No.
Be good.
Not you, Einstein, not you. So, how did everything work out with those eggs?
Not like I was hoping. Never trust a rich kid.
Too bad. Was it that jerk, Tad? You know, his parents are at a party at my boss's house right now. If you wanted a revenge thing, now would be a good time.
I guess I'll need some more eggs then.
Ah, yes. You got it.
Thanks. Come on, Russell. We've got a house call to make.
Alright, so something that you might not notice or think of clearly on this particular scene is that you notice clearly that Russell is tending to help you. So basically you're wondering, okay, Russell's going to help me do a mission. This is the first time anybody's ever actually helped me accomplish something other than Gary putting me in the crap and then running away from it. Russell, on the other hand, is actually helping you for the benefit of good. So what it's going to boil down to is that it's basically hovering the idea that once he helps you and you beat this particular mission, you actually have the ability skill to unlock for Russell to help you with anything. So say you're just around school and you're getting chased by, you know, some of the other bullies or whoever has a problem with you. You find Russell around the schoolyard somewhere, you pay him maybe $5 or whatever he wants in exchange, and he'll actually beat up everybody for you. So you pretty much don't have to get your hands dirty. So the only way you'll get that option is if you beat this mission. So it all starts here.
Trapped in that locker for 3 days. I fell from 5 flights.
Technique here is to throw eggs into Tad's house windows. He's going to complain every time you throw an egg in, and most likely what happens afterwards is that the bad guys, or I should say the preps that work for him, they'll come out and try to attack you. So that's where Russell comes in. He'll fight them off as best he can, but at some point you might have to jump in and help him because he'll get outnumbered. But for the most part, it's just kind of, you know, trying to destroy this guy's house and make an example out of him. You're not exactly timed, but Russell's health is on the line, so if he gets jumped too bad, it's like required that you jump in and defend him by, you know, taking on some of the action yourself. But for the most part, he's usually good with taking on about maybe 4 or 5 guys at a time, so he'll do pretty good for a while.
You're not going to get away with this. Who threw that egg?
I see him.
No, Russell, man.
Oh yeah, I just let Russell take that one. Alright. Turn to the window, throw another egg. Only open windows at that too, so you're probably wondering where to throw the eggs at. Only in open windows.
Oh, yuck. It's
You'll notice because the shutters will be open on them. So as long as it flies in, it doesn't necessarily have to make a landing mark. I mean, you just know that once it goes through the window, that's all you pretty much have to worry about.
Over here!
If it misses, then you have to do it again, of course. If you run out of eggs, well, you might have to literally leave the yard and go buy some more, then come all the way back. So that's the sucky part. So you do start off this mission, do make sure that you come equipped with everything you need.
Everyone, get that damn bangle!
And this mission is done. So, with that out the way, we are going to take a moment to get some commentary from our spectator.
That's it?
Let's see. Horrible Goddess, what do you think?
You are messy.
You want to go into that prep school in the sky?
I actually love this.
I learned this
so
move
far.
from my dad.
It's definitely really for it to be like an old classic. It's really like the approach that they have taken with all the different characters and like how you have the greasers and jocks. Naturally, me personally, I hate jocks. You know, I just don't like jocks in general. So, you know, if I could just walk down the hall,
I'll put you in your place.
Fine, I definitely would, just because they're jocks.
Understandable. Yep, ironically, as the game does go by chapters, you unlock a certain faction of people during each chapter, so each chapter focuses in solely on a certain specification. Like chapter 1 was the bullies, chapter 2, which we're in right now, is the preppies, chapter 3, I want to say is the nerds, chapter 4 should be the greasers, and chapter 5 should be the jocks. Of course, they saved the biggest for last because they'll be the most threatening out of all. And just like any Rockstar game, the map does unlock more and expand more as you complete a certain part of the game or a certain amount of missions. So if we were to look at our map right now, it's only but so far we can go on. Actually, we'll show you guys that. And the other half of it will be that we have to like wait a certain amount of time, so I guess come across certain people and certain things to get us to the other half of the map. So It's a lot of stuff on here that most people don't realize that they could come across at the time, but you'll be able to unlock more and more, figure out more to the game, and see this and see that. The map is going to be highly important, especially when it comes to looking for radio transistors, because those are hard to find if you don't naturally know where they are off the top of your head, which most people don't. The map actually will be your better method of looking at to try to figure out where to go and, you know, exactly where to pick it up at. So, you know, it wouldn't be a Rockstar game if it didn't have any Easter eggs in it, so I look at it that way. Oh, and
Since you're actually viewing the inside of the boys' dormitory,
get your input on how we live in here.
Well, it's definitely nothing like what I'm accustomed to looking at every day. But, you know, I think it's pretty cool, especially since you can kind of, you know,
I'm so sick of all these stupid, ugly people everywhere. Like, get a life!
You want to kind of hang around in the hole, irritate your soul every time you attempt to go to your room. But, yeah, it's pretty cool. It actually
I'm gonna show you how a man fights his battle. This is a beauty.
Look, it's just a misunderstanding.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Cedric. I appreciate it.
No, I didn't say anything.
Now, these guys with the white shirts on, they were like the very first enemy I actually came across in the very beginning. But luckily they're on my side, so you won't really see too much of them fighting me back anymore, which is a good thing because I actually need them more than ever nowadays. But as I said, each chapter brings along new missions and more problems, so as we progress, just be expectedly prepared for the unexpected. Anything can happen on here, I just put it that way. We got a little bit of time before our next class starts, so we can do our boxing challenge, which I mentioned before, as far as, you know, taking over the preppies and then, you know, stealing their boxing gym from them as a new location to spawn at. Or we can do weed killer, which you basically have to destroy a plant from the preppies. So if I had to suggest, being that you still kind of have to work for them in a sense, which will be part of the boxing challenge, I'd say do everything before you do weed killer, do everything else they require you to do, because if you kind of go out of order just out of free will, you might actually make it harder for yourself to complete. So it'll make it where they hate you faster than they should, so you kind of want to wait that out. No rush for them, anybody to hate you. Since class is about to start, I won't exactly jump into the mission right yet. I was about to, but class is literally about to start in less than 10 seconds, so I'm just going to wait and see what class it is and if I need to do it or not. And that'll let me know what I should do. Alright, shop class. Highly important. Shop class is basically your version of what's the best word? Mechanic school. It's going to be where you'll work on bikes, technically only bikes, nothing more, nothing less. The more you actually work on bikes, as I mentioned in the other videos, you'll actually progress the agilities, the speed, and the strength of your bike, so you'll be able to do more things with it. It actually comes in handy because being that that's your only other vehicle at the moment other than a skateboard, the bike is always going to be useful.
I'm in a crap mood today, so just
it's
shut
best
up
to
and get
kind of
to
stay
work.
on top of that class, and because it's so rare that it pops up, it's like one of the classes that you rarely come across so often, so it's best to just stay on top of that.
All right, you're getting somewhere now.
You definitely want to be very careful about pushing the buttons and spinning the wheel at the right timing, because you miss it at any point, you can pretty much screw yourself over and have to start completely over. So you definitely want to pay attention to everything.
Maybe you're just not
that
cut
right
out
there
for
was
this.
an example just
Start
to show
over.
you, and pretty much that's what it'll do, take you all the way back. You only get 3 shots at this, so
Good work,
it's best to kind of just, you know, remember what you did the first time if you can't read the buttons fast enough.
Not too shabby, Hopkins.
But basically, my best advice is just don't mess up.
I guess you're not useless.
I can't put it any simpler than that. It looks hard just off of that sequence right there, but trust me, when you get to level 4 or 5, oh, it's like maybe 8 or 9 different buttons and spins. So you could imagine the complication that's just to await me of coming soon.
Epic fail.
Yeah, you know.
And done.
I mean, it happens, but you know, I think like with me when I first did it, the more I played that particular job and had to do the particular mission part over and over and over, I actually just became to start remembering, you know, what I was supposed to do. So the more I memorized it, it just made it easier for me to know, okay, this goes left, that goes right, push X, push square. But of course, like I say, when it starts throwing 9 and 8 or 9 different buttons out there, then we might have a little bit of an issue by that point.
Oh yeah.
Alright, we have some time to spare. Our next class shouldn't start till 1 p.m. It's kind of a risk to leave this area to go all the way across the city, but at the same time, I'm gonna hope that I can make it back in time if I do go to start a mission, but time does kind of speed up. As you see, it's already halfway around the clock again. So I might actually just go enough distance but not too far out, just in case it is a class I do need to complete. But that's the thing, you never know, because they're always going to be random and they change up the times to it, so it's kind of best to stay nearby when you know the class schedule time frames. And I don't exactly know all of them by heart. I just know the 9 a.m. and the 1 p.m. but there are other time frames that pop up every blue moon, so it's usually something you want to kind of keep in mind just in general. And it's a class that I need to do because it's showing me in orange. It's photography class 2. I'm not really sure the significance of this class other than, of course, you get to unlock your camera and you get to take photos of the freak show at the circus and the carnival and all that stuff, which is actually pretty cool. But in between things, like right now, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to get out of this, but we will find out. So we're going to find out together.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope none of you forgot your cameras.
Oh, okay. Yeah, matter of fact, this is actually one of my favorite missions as far as camera class or photography class. Basically, with your camera, you want to spin your wheel to open it up, and what you want to do is basically take pictures of students. You want to get them in the green box and not the red, because the red means you don't have a clear enough shot of them. As long as you take a picture of them in the green, it actually adds their photo to your yearbook. Most of the time, students will stop what they're doing and pose for you. They'll look at you. So if they see you pointing the camera in their face, they'll actually turn around and stare at you like she's doing and pose. So it makes it that much easier to get the job done.
Hello, student.
And when it adds their photos to your yearbook, they actually become whatever the photo, not exactly the one you took, but it'll add them regardless to your book. So technically, you have to get every student in the photo or in the yearbook for the entire, I guess, game completion altogether by the end of the game. Some people you may come across more than once. Some people you may never find until like a certain time frame. And then other people you just may not see at all, simply because they're no longer members of the school. Now, not to be nervous of that, because that used to be an issue for me. The trick to that actually is the fact that some of them had got expelled from school for whatever the reason, and you have to find them throughout the city. You're wondering, how do I find them? It's actually going to be missions that lead you to these people that you can't find in your yearbook personally, so you don't exactly have to stress yourself out about looking for them. It'll come to you, and you take their picture, or it'll naturally give it to you, and once your yearbook is complete, I believe you actually get something major out of that. I'm just not certain what it is. Everything does have its connection, though.
I rock! I always knew I could do it.
I tried to open up the start menu to show you guys the map and the yearbook, but I'm guessing, let me see, actually, matter of fact, here it is right here. Alright, so basically you want to come to your, I want to say the select button on the new PlayStation 4. You want to hit the big button in the center with the light. That button will bring you to your basically start menu. So what you want to check here is your yearbook photos. You go to yearbook, as you can see, I'm missing a whole bunch of people, and that simply means I haven't taken their photo. As you see my picture right there, if you take photos of people, they'll appear in your yearbook. So it's kind of like one of those games where you want to get to know your students, and it's like a certain amount of students in the entire school, so everybody knows everybody, and it's your job to like know each of them. So basically, even the people we just took photos of aren't exactly in here yet, but you have to still go take their photos again to actually include them into the yearbook. So if you're looking for somebody, like let's say next to PD is Pedro, now by the life of goodness I don't have a clue who Pedro is, but I'm certain that I can find him if I look around the school hard enough. And that's the trick to it. You literally, I want to say it's him.
Hi. Hello.
Yep, it was him. I was right. I played the game so much sometimes it sticks in the back of my memory of who's who, so naturally you might not remember people by their names, but certain descriptions of how they look will make it obvious enough. So somebody actually wants to get their ass kicked right quick. Give me a second. We'll get back to that in a moment. I have plenty of time to hand out whoopings. He can get these hands. Okay, back to the moment. So this is actually a good timing to catch a lot of students in the photo, because when they're grouped up like this, you want to like force them to stop so you can pose them and take their photos to get it out the way, because the faster you get it done, the less painful it'll be later in the game when you're looking for them. Because trust me, if you wait too late in the game, all hell is going to break loose. People are going to be fighting you every second of the day, so it's like you want to get them while they're on your good side. And because like I said, certain people are hard to find, so if you see them at the moment that you see them, catch them while you can, because it is not ever going to come as easy the next time around. And like I said, you might not know who's who by name, but just snap photos. Just keep snapping away. Whoever you see, just go ahead and, you know, snapshot it. And basically what it'll do is add them to your yearbook. So it'll basically put their photo there. So anybody that you're still missing, it'll technically still highlight their names and stuff. So you'll still have to go find those people in particular. But as you can see, everybody's kind of spraying out a bit, but I'm going to try to get, I want to say his name is, no, that's not Melvin. I know it starts with an I don't want to say M. I think it's an M, but I could be wrong. Oop, she's so little. She went under the camera. Karen. I would have never figured that one out. Up there, did I get Alex on?
Word up,
I got him now. Alright, so here's to show you what it looks like when you actually have the photos in your album building up. So as you see, more people are being added. So as you do each section, you might have a whole entire 2 pages full, except maybe one slot of a person that's not going to be there. And those typically will be either bosses throughout the game, or students that just got kicked out of school that you have to literally find outside elsewhere. But majority of the people that you're looking for are going to be right here front and center. Teachers aren't included in the photos, so you don't have to worry about going around trying to snap photos of the teachers, because they will try to break your camera. So it's best just to stay out of their way, you know, to begin with.
This place just keeps getting worse and worse. So, are you gonna get me some?
Hello.
No, I'm not.
I was just thinking about you.
Yeah, I went to the girls' dorm.
Alright, I think I got him already. Did I
How's
get him?
it going, buddy? I was just thinking about
Ray.
you.
Ray, that's his name. I
know what to
never
do.
remember that.
I'm so glad I saw
So
you
simple.
today.
Hold up, isn't that Gloria? No, she's Gloria. No, that's not even Gloria. Melody. I knew one of them started with an M. Mel and Melody. Okay, both of them same age, same height, same difference.
God, greasers!
Alright,
Always
this
ruining
guy, I
my
want to say his name is Bucky.
experiments.
Let me see.
Greetings
I
and
might have got his photo
salutations.
already. That's probably why it's not working. If you did take their photo already, it won't let you pop their name up, which means you already done it, which is good. But sometimes you forget, so you just kind of want to backtrack yourself and take the same photos just to be certain, because it's like you do it so much that everybody will eventually start looking alike. So to make it easier, I just like to go double check by snapping photos of the same people just to be certain that I got them. school's actually about to close right now because it's about to be 7 o'clock, so I'm going to head outside before they force me out the door and see if I come across anybody else in the school grounds. We haven't come across a lot of activity as far as conflict with other students too much yet, but it is soon to come, very, very soon. The build-up is going to be real.
Can you help me, please? Just like for a second.
Especially with people like her. She looks, well, I don't know if she looks innocent to you, but she's not exactly the innocent person that she acts to be.
All right, I need to get back to the girls'
As
dorm.
I mentioned in the last video, this particular girl is the gossip of the school, and as you can see right there, the big girl behind me, she is the ex-girlfriend that I dated, and that tall girl that's fighting the one that I was just walking with. So technically, girls have feelings for your character, so when they catch you doing something or interacting with another girl, they follow or they get jealous and they will try to fight and start stuff. Like Eunice is standing there watching, trying to estimate what she wants to do. The other girl tried to fight her because, well, obvious. But, I mean, there's nothing you can really do. I mean, you know, they have their own feelings and emotions toward Jimmy, so, you know.
I never tell a lie unless it's
not really something you can control.
Oh, it's okay.
And then, yeah, Jimmy swaps girlfriends all throughout the game, so, you know, sometimes you'll get good ones, sometimes you'll get bad ones, and sometimes they'll just leave you, or if you don't leave them, they'll leave you first. And half the time, most of them already are dating somebody else, so if their boyfriend isn't exactly catching them at the moment that they're walking or talking to you, then somebody else will say something to them, and then it'll conflict with your character at some point. So me just walking her right now to her dorm is going to start something later in the game, because her connections or boyfriend or whatever will find out,
she got a nose job, and
that'll
she's like
turn
only
into
12.
a major
It's
issue
totally
later on.
not cool.
Especially if like an ex-girlfriend sees me, you know, walking her and all, so that'll just be an unnecessary fight or conflict.
We need like snack break and tea break in schools.
Alright, we're gonna
Oh
drop
my
her
god,
off
did you see
around
Maddie making herself
here
sick in the
somewhere.
toilets again?
I can't exactly
Thanks
go
for doing
inside,
that.
but yeah. What, no kiss goodnight?